Hello, beautiful people. It is me again, the bold, beautiful, your host on In Between Our Stand. Oh, I'm here today with my friend Crystal to give you another juicy story, but this time it's going to be a little pathetic. I know we have millions of kids out there that are actually going through this right now, or people that has gone through this, and it's affecting the world as a whole. It's affecting home, is affecting everything, behaviors out there. You know, growing up in an abusive home is always something that would have serious effect on the kids. They have to try to work on themselves to become a better person. Some people don't have the opportunity to be like that. But hey, I have someone here who has gone through uh, such horrific experience, and she would love to just tell us about the ordeal and share all our experiences. Meet my friend here, Krista, the beautiful Krista. Remember? Do you want to introduce yourself, Krista?
Yes, Krista. And yeah, I grew up in an abusive home with alcoholism, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. But I've been through that, and I work with teenagers that have similar stories, slightly different but similar. Yeah. So.
I know it's a lot right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
like bringing back those memories that you probably don't want to think about. You probably forgotten about all of those things, but it's always good for us to kind of share all our experiences so that people can learn from it, how to, uh, you know, get themselves out of that mess and become a better person in life. Krista, I would want you to narrate some of your experiences with my viewers out there.
Yes, for sure. Of course, we share stories for other people to connect with and to teach and to say, hey, I'm sitting here now and I'm okay, and I'm a mother of two, and I have a full-time job, and I have wonderful people in my life.
Beautiful.
And beautiful experiences that I've had. So I sit here and I tell my stories of pain and trauma with a happy ending. And I want you to know that with a happy ending, and you can have one too. So yes, my mother herself grew up in an abusive home, very British, they were united, I think, but didn't talk a lot. So she grew up with her own issues, her own pain, her own trauma, and found my father. My father's family is, they tried very much to be the perfect family. He somewhere along the lines, what was like the black sheep. So he's abusive, an alcoholic, one of the younger ones in that family. I can't comment on his parents, what they were like, but I do know they sent him to boarding school. So my father was not First Nations, so he didn't go to residential school, but he went to something similar, boarding school. From things you've said to me, aka one thing he called, which almost tarnished my view of religion, he called it physical Christianity. So he was definitely physically abused. I am actually assuming sexually as well, because that's what he did to us when we were younger.
Are you kidding me?
No.
With his kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing to note about that, and I can guarantee that most kids going through that will have experienced certain family members who deny it. So there's a whole element of feeling like you're crazy, because some people want to deny it. They don't really know, or they've blocked it. So I know psychologically the brain will block trauma when it's too stressful. Sexual abuse is one of the ones that are the most stressful, so people block that the most. So yeah, I have few memories, but they're there enough for me to know. Feeling uncomfortable in your body, feeling uncomfortable around that person, like times when I would be around him a long time ago. I've cut my father out of my life many, many years ago. I have memories of my sisters, but I won't share their stories because it's not for me to do that. But I do have memories of stuff that has happened to them, and they are in denial of that. But through years of us trying to respect each other's boundaries, we've come to an okay place. That's another message that I would love to give, is that, stand up for yourself, speak out, get yourself safe. Even if it just means saving you, you will at least be a beacon for your family members.
That's right.
Yeah. So on my father's end with the alcoholism, I remember him putting my uncle, so it was my actual uncle's brother, but we called him uncle, in a headlock and dragging him out of our house because my father was fighting with him. He was just angry. Another time, my father was abusing my mother. So that's another piece, is that oftentimes it's not just the children, it's everybody in the house. And my mother was a victim as well, so she couldn't save us. I was very angry with my mother for many years before I realized that
she couldn't do anything?
Yeah, and I blamed her. I went through a period of blame and anger, and instead of talking and being on my healing journey of like sharing my story, I would almost like try to throw it in my family's face, that anger, and that doesn't help anybody. It hurts yourself as well, but it's there, and you have to process through that anger to be able to heal and have a happier life. But yeah, one time, I remember seeing my father push my mother down, so it would have been one of the many times that he was physically assaulting her, and she grabbed a kitchen knife to protect herself.
Wow.
The next day, all of us girls woke up and we had a $100 bill in our drawer. He was trying to bribe us not to say anything. Yeah. Around Easter time, just so my father is Catholic, again, it's very difficult, and I do caution you to the negative things surrounding that you might associate with a certain religion because you've met somebody who has manipulated it badly. Yeah, don't let that taint your view on it. Find your own relationship with that, outside, away from whoever tainted it for you. But it was around Easter time.
Okay.
My father was getting mad at my middle sister.
Okay.
Trying to leave their stories out, but it'll end with me. And I stepped in, trying to be the oldest, trying to be the protector. I stepped in, and I got mad at him. I deflected his anger towards me. He chased me down the stairs to my bedroom, and he choked me.
Wow.
Yeah. So my little sister called the police. They arrived. Another thing I find that's very, very difficult to navigate, but please don't let that discourage you, is it's difficult for police or social workers to step in unless there's a lot of evidence.
Wow.
So they showed up. Everything was okay. My mother, being an abused person as well, was either afraid or just couldn't.
I don't know why mothers do that. They try to protect their husband when
Yes.
I don't know, maybe because of the marriage, maybe because of love. But I've heard so many people saying, "Oh, my mother would, try to cover up for him."
Yes.
I don't know why mothers do that.
There's a lot of manipulation that happens over many years, and it's partly could be ingrained in their brains from the abuser that if you tell, you'll lose their kids. If you tell, I'll hurt you more. If you tell, I'll leave and you'll be poor, you'll be broken. They convince you of so many things that aren't true.
So, Krista, I know you went through a lot, and we cannot cover every one of it right now. But again, I have so many people who are still struggling with that right now, who are probably still experiencing it, or maybe they are out of it and they don't know how to help themselves out of this situation. What are the things you did? Because You're very perfect now. You have children. You have a job. You're living a good life. You put all of those things behind you. So what are those things? Because I know so many things would have been deposited in you that would have affected your life, your education. Because you went to school, you went to the university. You did a lot of things. You were able to help yourself despite all of those horrible experiences. So what are those things that you did to help yourself, or maybe somebody stepped in for you?
I had some people, so having family around, they didn't all believe, but some were just there. Just them being there was sometimes enough. I think it's putting something within yourself, like inside of you, like religion, creator, God, that belief in something to pull you through. Honestly, I know as a young child, that's what helped. Okay. I was able to just trust something outside of the situation. I had hope. At one point, I kneeled down, yes, and this was Easter, I kneeled down at like the foot of the Jesus statue.
Beautiful.
Okay. And I said, God, please save my family. So at that time, we did stick together, maybe in some way that I can't quite see. That's what needed to happen at that time. But I had something in me that just kept saying, like, there's hope, there's hope, there's hope. And then when I was a teenager and early 20s, the fighter in me came out. And it was not that I got into fights, but it was like, I am not going to let this person destroy my life. What do I need to do to not let him win? And it's not necessarily about winning and losing, but it was, I have a mission to be the best me that I can, to not let whatever happened to me take me down. In terms of help, yes. For sure, that introduction to religion, something outside of yourself that can then pull you and give you that hope. And then my high school counselor was amazing. I had 2 of them, and I just love them to bits and pieces. They were so helpful to me. And I just kept going. School, I loved school. If I didn't have mostly amazing teachers, I think 80% of my teachers were good. I at least there was people that were feeding me positive stuff, and that I could do well at something, so that helped huge. So I started to see counselors in high school, and I did that into my like young adult years, and that at the age of 16 is when I really started coming forward with stuff.
Did you leave home?
I didn't leave home.
Okay, and it was still there with you?
Yes. Yep.
And you were able to pull through?
I did pull through. My younger sisters are the reason why I stayed. I had an aunt. She didn't know anything that was going on, or I didn't think she did. I mean, there's another piece that even I'm not knowing right now that I may know in future, is that people around you probably know more than they're saying, because they, and then you'll find some will deny it, and you have to fight through that as well. You have to fight through people's denial. But you will find those people when you speak up that are like, yeah, I kind of thought something was wrong all along. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, so what kept you going is that little voice inside of you telling you there is hope.
Yes.
You have to fight for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to become whoever you want to be in life. So that's the little voice telling you there is hope.
Yeah. And there's a big something behind that little voice.
I know. There's always a big something behind it telling you there is hope. So if you're out there, you're listening to us right now, you're going through such, there is hope. I think Oprah Winfrey went through some of this ordeal. And look at her right now. She's everywhere. We all know her everywhere. There is always hope. Now that you have kids, I know you will be willing to go extra miles to protect your kids from going through all of these things that you went through. Has this really affected your parenting?
Yes.
Kind of.
I know. So it's taught me so much. The kids have taught me so much, which is amazing. Okay. So when you've been through trauma, whether it's physical or sexual, but any trauma, right? And there's always a lot of mental abuse that goes along with this. And you have those negative programming, you have those tapes, you have that voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough, you can't do this.
You can't do this.
People are looking at me.
You're worthless.
Yeah. So awareness. Awareness is like what helps you, and having, other people who help you get that awareness. I noticed during different stages of my kids' upbringing, I'm remembering different emotions. I'm remembering like different ways of being. So I'm looking at it like as if it's outside of me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then if I have to go to a counselor or a good trusted friend that can handle this, I go and talk to them, and then they help pull me through and remind me where I am and how to help my kids. On a side note, I actually just a few months ago started taking a small dose of antidepressants. I'm not really a big fan of medication, but I realized for my brain, from the trauma I've been through.
Wow, so it's still going on.
It still is.
A little bit of it.
A little bit. And the way that it goes on is, sometimes I'm too exhausted emotionally to clean the house or do something like that, right? I found that there's little things where I wasn't able to show up as much for my life. So I went to a counselor and then to my doctor, and I said, okay, I want to try this. I want to try this right now, small dose again, and so that I can like do the other things in life that help me feel good. Like if I have a clean house, I feel good. If I can go to the gym, I feel amazing. And then I show up for my kids in much better. Do
you have a social life right now? Maybe that could help?
Yeah, I don't, because another thing of growing up in an alcoholic family is that oftentimes children of alcoholics become workaholics. So I do work a lot. I don't have as much of a social life because I don't have as much time. But now that my children are a bit older, I can sometimes go out and do stuff for me. So that does help. I have great co-workers.
Beautiful.
That I can talk
so
to.
You're comfortable at work?
Yeah. And yeah, I don't go out a lot, but I still go out sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these things, little things helps, you understand, just to get you off that stage.
Absolutely.
Do you have a relationship right now?
I don't.
Yeah,
that's a negative side effect.
Don't
how
worry.
It affects me.
The good guy would come. If you're a good guy out there, please come.
Yeah.
The good guy would come.
Yeah.
Because the most important thing right now as a parent is, if we have been through something, we have to be careful, especially if we have kids.
Yeah.
And you have a girl, so you have to protect her. So
any
good guy coming out there has to be, if not perfect, 95%. Because you don't want her to experience any form of abuse right now.
Yeah.
Krista, we have, where you work right now, we have so many women going through all of these things.
Yeah.
Has this really helped you? Has this helped you to kind of know how to deal with those women, their emotions? Because that's where you work. We have so many of them. Has this really helped you at work?
It has. And my work has taught me to take care of myself, because one, hearing other women's stories and children can often trigger. We use that word a lot in the sort of like social work counseling field, to trigger. So like evoking emotions, like reminding you of what you've been through.
Okay.
So it can, but it has helped because I can have empathy, not just sympathy, but empathy.
Empathy.
Yeah, I can sit down with a woman and I can see her for the beautiful person that she is underneath, and even the ones that are addicts, because there's some pain. Gabor Mate talks about it. The root of trauma or of addiction is trauma. So yeah, I can definitely talk to women. What was hard for me was the mothers who were very hard with their kids. I don't just mean strict, but I mean neglectful, or snapping on them, like yelling at them, swearing at them. I had to learn how to see past that. They've been through trauma and probably still obviously going through it. Trauma. So it's harder. One thing I realized that I would love to share with your viewers so much is that inner voice. It's so important to make that inner voice the most beautiful voice you can, because if your inner voice is putting you down, which often happens with people with depression and stuff like that, that's
the major thing.
Yeah. But when you can fix your inner voice and love yourself, loving your kids is easy.
Mm.
You know, and I mean, we love our children no matter what we're going through, but showing them the proper way to love, showing them,
Things.
yeah.
How would you advise anyone watching us right now and maybe in their heads they think they're not good enough, maybe in their head they think they're worthless,
Oh.
they're going through a lot of things right now. I know it breaks my heart too to see people in that condition. How would you advise them? What would you tell them right now?
You have to realize how beautiful you are.
Mm.
You have to find who you were before all of this, almost reconnecting with that little child. So you could say little girl, little boy. You need to find that person before all of this, that pure soul, and help them through this, to know that you underneath that soul is still there and intact, and you've done whatever you needed to do to protect it. Now it's time to let it shine. And to also know that it's not your fault. And when I say this, it's not to say it's your fault, but you have control. So you take the control back. Don't ever think that your partner just abuses you. If they're abusive to you, they're no good for your children. So don't, and all children, no matter what, will love their parents and view them as perfect until a certain age. So they will actually not tell you or deny when things are happening. So if you know you have an abusive partner, they don't have to see, your children don't have to see that partner until you know that person is healthy.
Wow. Oh, it's a beautiful moment with you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with my viewers. I hope we've learned a lot from the story today. You know, she talked about hope. You know, there is hope. She talked about kneeling down at the statue of Jesus. You know, if you're a religious person, look for a church around you and start attending. Sometimes it helps. You know, it helps actually.
Yeah.
Don't let me say sometimes. You go to church and sometimes you're just seated there and it look as if someone is just talking about you, telling you you're good enough, you're the best, you can do it, you know. And she talked about inner voice too. You talked about inner voice, conquering your inner voice telling you that no, I am not who you think I am. I'm good enough. I can do this. I can be a better person. I can work on myself. I can do amazing things in life. I can change my story. My story can be something that people will learn from at the end of the day, like we are learning from Crystal right now. So don't think you're worthless. You are who God says you are. You're not what that man did to you. You're not what that lady did to you. You are you. You have hope. You have good inner voice telling you that you can move on. You can achieve it. You can do better things. You can do great things. You can go to school. You can have a better life. You can get a good husband. You know, I know you can get a good boyfriend. So you can do it. So go out there, conquer the world, and come back here and share your story. You get what I'm saying? So thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been a wonderful show, and I know, Crystal, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing your story. Well, that's all we have for you today. Do not forget to support me. Those little comments, they make a lot of, they help promote the channel. You know, your like, your comment, and your dislike. Sometimes you have strong opinion about what we say and you say, no, this is not how it should be. This is how it should be. Feel free, write it there and we'll come back and talk about it. Thank you so much for joining me today. You remember that I love you. I truly do. I love you and I would always love you. Bye for now. Bye.